how to organize your software engineering processes into a nice, simple structure. I've seen many software teams building those large process maps, like we have the verification and validation process and the quality assurance, and then we have some boxes and arrows and we follow them. But in 25 years of my experience, I have never seen anyone really standing by that chart and really following it. Okay, this is my next step in the process. So let me give you a quick tip how to do that in a much more simpler and a natural way, so there's a higher chance that people will really follow it. You can find some process structure in the industrial software standards. So for example, ISO 26262 automotive or aerospace DO178B, or we have in Europe railway standard ISO 50657, and you can find some process structure there. But the problem with the standards is that they are too generic. They are meant to cover a lot of applications. They may give you like 16 or 20 different processes, but it's unrealistic to start with all of them at the beginning, because that will be too much of a change for your team and your process improvement effort will very likely fail. The processes and guidelines should be something that is tailored and specific for your team, for your way of working. Reflecting, for example, your past mistakes, or reflecting the most important points that the customers were asking about. Starting from that angle is much better than looking into the standards and try to follow the structure that they give you. You might have people in the team that will tell you, well, we need all of those processes. At the end, you will need many of them, that's true. But it's unrealistic to start with like 10 different processes and start growing them at the same time, because that will be too much of a change for your team and your process improvement effort will likely fail. The structure of processes that I want to show you now has worked for the real teams. It's simple and it has a high chance to become part of your team's culture. In the first step, select 2 core processes. So those will be the processes that you will focus on. It should be something that is relevant for your type of projects. So for example, if you are the team that is focusing on testing the software, then the 2 core processes might be the verification and validation process and the planning and monitoring process. Or if you are a system engineering team, then you can select the system engineering process and the requirements management process. So 2 core processes. I wouldn't go for more than 2, because it might be hard to follow complex process structure right from the beginning. And then step number 2, just brainstorm like 5 or 10 different SOPs or standard operating procedures and the guidelines. So for example, if you are developing software code, then you might have a coding guidelines, or you might have a release procedure, or you might have the way how you are assigning the IDs to your documentation. The SOPs or standard operating procedures and guidelines are way lighter, smaller, so they are easier to follow, especially by the newcomers to your team, and you don't need a large budget to really implement them. So your first process structure may look like this. So you have 2 verification and validation and the planning and monitoring, so 2 core processes on the top, and then you have a list of smaller SOPs and guidelines here at the bottom, and that's all you need at the beginning. It will be simple to follow, and it has a higher chance to become really the part of your team's culture. So now it's time for you. Take the clean sheet of paper and a pencil, 2 large bubbles on the top. Those will be your 2 core processes. Select something that is specific for your team, that is relevant for your type of projects, and then a list of smaller SOPs and guidelines at the bottom. As I said, start small, leave some space for the people. If you start small, they will naturally come up and they will start to change and improve the processes that you have proposed. Having a simple structure like this in place working is achievable in like 2 months. If you will do just that, your team will for sure change. Let me know how it went for you. If you like the video, then comment, like and subscribe. My name is Slavo, and I will see you in the next video.